Pixar has given us some truly memorable villains, from the sneaky to the downright scary.
If he fixed you once, he can fix you again.
But when the big hand points down...
I'll get more grasshoppers and be back next season.
Today, we're putting them on trial, judging their crimes to see who's the worst of the worst and who's a true master of mischief. 27th, Dean Abigail Hardscrabble. Hold up, record scratch. Dean Abigail Hardscrabble on a villain list? Are you kidding me? This dragon centipede queen isn't a villain. She's the ultimate boss-level teacher. Yeah, she's got more legs than your average centipede and a stare that could melt steel. But she's just doing her job, baby. She runs the School of Scaring at Monsters University like a tight ship, and if you can't hack it, you're out. Mike and Sully kicked to the curb. Why? Because they didn't meet the standards. This isn't some participation trophy daycare. This is Monsters University. She wants real scarers, and when those two knuckleheads actually pulled off the impossible in the human world, she didn't throw them in monster jail. She was genuinely surprised and told them to keep surprising people. That's not a villain, fam. That's a mentor. She's strict, she's fair, and she's a legend. So for all the crimes of being an actual educator, the verdict is in not a criminal. Plus, give this woman a raise. You go, Dean Hardscrabble. Keep those monster kiddos in line. Woo! 26. Chick Hicks. And now, the king of cheap shots, Chick Hicks. This guy is less charming than a flat tire. His car number is 86, which, let's be real, is probably how many times he cried himself to sleep because he wasn't the king. Sponsored by Hostile Takeover Bank. Dude, your entire existence is a hostile takeover of good sportsmanship, his ultimate act of villainy. In the king's last race ever, this slimy green goon pulls the dirtiest move in racing history, an illegal pit maneuver that sends the legend into a wall. For what? So he could win a dusty old trophy while the entire world boos him off stage. They pelted him with trash. You got the cut, buddy, but you lost everything else, including any shred of dignity you might have accidentally had. For being the ultimate sore loser and sore winner, Chick Hicks, you're not getting jail time, because that's just racing, baby. But you are getting a lifetime supply of booze and empty piston cups. 25th, Jackson Storm. Next up, we have the face of the future, the high-tech racer who's so sleek and confident, it's annoying. Jackson Storm. This dude is the physical manifestation of I'm better than you in car form. He rolls up to the piston cup like he invented racing, immediately talking smack to Lightning McQueen. Oh, you're retiring, old man. Boy, bye. And don't even get me started on how he treated Cruz Ramirez. He literally pulls up next to her mid-race just to taunt her and tell her she doesn't belong. Then, when she's about to pass him, he rages out and slams her into the wall. What a coward. He's all numbers and stats, zero heart and 100% arrogance. For his on-track bullying and being a certified jerk, Jackson Storm, you're not getting a trophy. You're getting a restraining order. Stay 500 feet away from Cruz and her awesome confidence. You glorified calculator on wheels. Get out of here. 24th, Jonathan Worthington III. Ugh, here we go, folks. The poster child for I was born on third base and think I hit a triple, Johnny Worthington. The third. This guy is frat boy elitism. He's got the look, the legacy, and an attitude that smells like old money and bad decisions. He welcomed Sully because of his name, but sneered at Mike like he was a stray sock. The nerve. His biggest crime. Creating a hostile educational environment and, like, mega harassment. But then, the scare games happened. Uzma Kappa, the literal underdogs, started winning, and what does Johnny Boy do? He throws them a party that's actually a public humiliation ritual. Paint, glitter, plush bunnies, then selling merch of their misery. That's not just bullying, that's a straight-up defamation lawsuit waiting to explode. He's a bully who uses his status to tear people down. But guess what, Johnny? Karma's a monster. Losing the scare games to Mike Wazowski, that's the ultimate taste of your own medicine. For being a pompous, manipulative jerk, Johnny gets a slap on the wrist, 2 months plus a $5,000 fine plus a restraining order. Go cry to your daddy, Johnny. 23. Ercole Visconti. Silencio, Bruno. More like Silencio Ercole, you insufferable, preening peacock. This dude, Ercole Visconti, has the most punchable face in the entire Italian Riviera. 5-time Porto Rosso Cup champion? We get it, dude. You peaked in middle school. He struts around on his Vespa like he's the king, but he's just a narcissistic menace. This guy is a walking crime spree. Multiple counts of assault, trying to drown Luca, punching Alberto. That's straight up child abuse. And let's not forget the theft when he had his goofy henchmen steal the entry money and the traffic tickets he must rack up with that obnoxious Vespa. Don't even get me started. He's a total sociopath who literally tried to harpoon Luca and Alberto for prize money. Good grief. But thankfully, karma came for him when his own goons got sick of his garbage and tossed him into the fountain. Ha! For being a public nuisance and a world-class jerk. Urcola, you're getting 13 months plus a $250 fine plus a restraining order. Stay away from kids and Vespas, you big baby. 22. Chef Skinner. Now, for a villain whose pettiness is as small as his stature, Chef Skinner. This pint-sized tyrant thought he was slick, taking over Gusto's spot, only to try and turn it into a frozen food factory. Like, seriously, what kind of monster tries to sell microwavable gourmet? But hold up, things get wild when Remy the Rat and Linguini the human noodle start cooking up a storm. Skinner goes full-on detective mode, snagging Linguini's DNA for a test. That's not just creepy, that's a straight-up privacy invasion in France, probably. Then, when he finds out Linguini's the true heir, he loses his mind faster than a souffle collapsing. He literally kidnaps Remy to force him into making his nasty frozen slop. Then he Grand Theft Autos Linguini's scooter and starts a high-speed chase through Paris. He even takes an illegal dip in the Seine. This dude's a walking felony generator, constantly trespassing and generally just being a petty, jealous, vindictive mess. No murders, sure, but his chaotic crime spree is legit impressive. For his culinary crimes and that bonkers chase, Chef Skinner gets 9 years plus $135,015 plus 3 more years and a license suspension. No scooter for you, bro. 21st, Stinky Pete. Let's talk about the Prospector, the mint-in-box miser, Stinky Pete. This Prospector toy is supposed to be a collector's dream, but he's more like a nightmare wrapped in plastic. This dude spent his life in a box, and it turned him into the ultimate bitter old man. He just wants to chill in a museum, away from kids, which, let's be real, is super weird for a toy. When Woody shows up, ready to head back to Andy, Pete's like, "Nah, bro!" He pretends to be all wise and grandfatherly, but it's a total act. He secretly sabotages Woody's escape, trapping him. Then, when Woody decides to peace out for good, Pete snaps. He locks everyone in the room, declaring they're all going to the museum. That's false imprisonment and straight-up kidnapping. And when Woody fights back, Pete goes full savage, using his pickaxe to re-rip Woody's arm. That's assault with a deadly weapon. This dude is a pathetic, selfish toy who'd rather drag his friends down with him than see them happy. For his epic acts of selfishness and violence, Stinky Pete gets a whopping 17 years. Enjoy your new owner, Amy, and her face paints. 20. Gabby Gabby. Here's a villain whose motivation is actually kinda sad, but whose methods are super creepy. Meet Gabby Gabby, the vintage talking doll from the 1950s. She just wants to be loved, but her voice box is busted, and she thinks if she can just get a new one, a little girl named Harmony will adore her. Her solution? Woody's voice box. When Woody and Forky roll up, she pulls an attempted kidnapping and successfully holds Forky hostage. That's false imprisonment. She uses Forky as bait, a classic move of coercion, to get Woody to hand over his voice. And how does she plan to get it? Her silent, terrifying ventriloquist dummy henchmen, the Bensons, are gonna rip it out. Yo, that's toy organ harvesting. She's not trying to kill Woody, but she's totally willing to tear him apart. This doll is a puppet master, controlling her silent army to get what she wants. Even though her story's kinda sad, it doesn't give her a free pass for committing felonies. In the end, she gets her voice fixed, but still gets rejected, proving you can't force love, fam. For her toy napping and planned organ theft, Gabby Gabby is sentenced to 26 years, plus a $1 million fine. 19. Anxiety. Oh boy, this is a weird one. Coming in hot is the new emotion on the block. The overthinking, overplanning, orange ball of stress herself, anxiety. Now, I know what you're thinking. How can an emotion be a criminal? Well, when that emotion stages a full-on hostile takeover of a teenager's brain, you best believe the charges are piling up. Anxiety's goal is to protect Riley, but her methods are like totally unhinged. First, she commits illegal trespassing by invading Riley's mind headquarters. Then, she and her crew pull off 6 counts of false imprisonment by bottling up joy and the OG emotions. That's a straight-up mental kidnapping. She even goes full police corruption, turning the mind workers against Joy. Her whole scheme to reshape Riley's identity is basically an illegal business, building a fraudulent personality based on fear. This non-stop pressure leads to insane emotional distress and mental harassment. All her what-if scenarios cause so much stress that Riley has an anxiety attack on the ice, which is some serious, reckless endangerment. And get this, she even causes property destruction by creating a literal belief storm that almost destroys the control console. Her intentions weren't evil, but her actions led to a full-blown mental meltdown. For staging a coup in a miner's mind, Anxiety gets hit with a hefty sentence of 98 years, plus $1,012,000 plus a lawsuit for emotional damages. Oof! 18. Sid Phillips. Next up is every 90s kid's nightmare, the original toy terrorizer, Sid Phillips. This ain't just a bully, my friends. This kid is a future mad scientist whose lab is his bedroom and whose test subjects are innocent toys. Sid is Andy's neighbor, and his idea of fun is pure nightmare fuel for any toy. We're talking multiple counts of mutilation as he rips toys apart and rebuilds them into horrifying mutants like Babyface. And then there's more mutilation as he blows them up with fireworks or fries them with a magnifying glass. He even commits acts of assault on his sister's dolls, performing twisted, double bypass brain transplants. While he doesn't know the toys are alive, from their perspective, this kid is a monster. His grand finale for Buzz Lightyear, taping the big one, a massive rocket to his back with the full intention of blowing him to smithereens. That, my friends, is straight up attempted murder. He's a menace, a terror, and the reason toys need therapy. It took Woody orchestrating a full-on toy uprising with his mutant creations coming to life to scare this kid straight. For his reign of terror and his twisted experiments, Sid Phillips is hereby sentenced to life plus 55 years in toy prison. Play nice, Sid, or else. 17th, Bomb Voyage. Here's a villain who is literally a walking, talking mime joke, but with explosives. Meet Bomb Voyage. This dude is literally a walking, talking, exploding mime. He's like, ooh la la, watch me silently blow up your bank account. He's not just robbing banks, he's committing property damage. And then, the absolute audacity to plant a bomb on Incrediboy's cape? That's attempted murder. This guy is so slick, he dipped out faster than your motivation on a Monday morning, leaving Mr. Incredible to deal with a train full of doom. He basically single-handedly made superheroes illegal. This dude's a theatrical, sarcastic, and dangerously clever criminal who knew how to exploit a hero's code of ethics. For his explosive crime spree and his role in making superheroes illegal, Bomb Voyage is sentenced to life plus 39 years plus a $750,000 fine. Au revoir, villain. Don't let the cell door hit you on the way out. 16th, Emperor Zurg. Emperor Zurg, the galactic daddy issues poster child. This dude rolls up from the Gamma Quadrant, all cape and dramatic voice, wielding an ion blaster that shoots green gumballs? Seriously, Zurg, we expected lasers, not breath mints, but don't let the toyish vibe fool you. This guy is hardcore. He pops out of his box at Al's toy barn and immediately goes full-on John Wick on Buzz Lightyear. We're talking grand larceny escaping the store, then straight up trespassing into Al's apartment like he owns the place. He corners utility belt Buzz on an elevator, and what do we get? A toy-on-toy shootout. That's assault and reckless endangerment for everyone in the elevator shaft. He nearly offed Buzz with a point-blank shot. That's attempted murder, folks, and holding Buzz's friends hostage, kidnapping, and false imprisonment. Plus, he basically totaled Al's building with that elevator battle. Property destruction. Oh, and let's not forget the 2 implied murder charges from his galactic tyrant backstory. Zurg, you're looking at 2 life sentences, plus 65 years plus a $20 million fine. Hope your evil empire has good lawyers, cause you're cooked. 15. Ernesto de la Cruz. Seize your moment and get ready to despise Ernesto de la Cruz, the most charming murderer in the land of the dead. Everyone thought he was a musical legend, a true Mexican icon. Nah, this clown was a fame-hungry backstabbing snake who built his entire career on a mountain of lies and a literal body count. He started with his bestie, Hector, who, get this, wrote all the bangers. But when Hector wanted to go home to his family, Ernesto had a panic attack about losing his gravy train. So what did he do? He poisoned Hector's tequila, watched his best friend drop dead in the street, and then, with zero shame, stole his songbook and guitar. That's murder number 1. straight out of a telenovela. Then he pulls off the biggest copyright infringement in history, passing off Hector's masterpieces as his own. The audacity. But wait, there's more. Even in the afterlife, this guy's a menace. When Miguel tries to spill the beans, Ernesto tries to literally off a child by chucking him into a cenote pit. That's murder charge number 2 and false imprisonment. And to add insult to injury, he tries to destroy Hector's photo, basically committing a spiritual second murder on his buddy. For crimes against friendship, family, and every good jam session ever, Ernesto de la Cruz gets 3 life sentences plus 8 years plus a $450,000 fine. 14th, curse, dragon. Alright, this next one isn't a person or even an animal. It's a curse made manifest. When Barley Lightfoot yanks that cursed phoenix gem from a magical fountain, he doesn't just unleash a beast, he unleashes Ian's high school. Like, imagine your locker coming to life with a vendetta. This thing has lockers for scales, a vending machine for a shoulder pad, and the school mascot's face. The property damage alone is enough to bankrupt a small nation. This overgrown school building on legs has one mission: get that gem and obliterate the dude who stole it. The second it forms, it's on a full throttle rampage trying to squash Ian and Barley. That's multiple attempted murder charges. It breathes fire, it smashes everything in its path, and it took the combined might of 2 brothers, their warrior mom Laurel and the Manticore, to even slow this thing down. For being a magical menace and turning a perfectly good high school into a pile of rubble, the Cursed Dragon is sentenced to 3 life sentences plus a $1 million fine to cover all those repairs. Someone's going to be paying off that school loan for centuries. 13. Charles F. Muntz. Let's talk about Charles F. Muntz. This dude started as Carl and Ellie's childhood hero, an explorer extraordinaire. But then the eggheads called him a fraud for finding a rare bird skeleton, and his mind just snapped. He spent the next 70 years in the jungle, obsessively hunting this bird, and along the way, he racked up at least 5 murder charges against other explorers. When he finally meets Carl and Russell, he invites them to dinner like a normal person. But the second Russell utters Kevin the Bird, Muntz goes from hospitable host to homicidal maniac faster than you can say adventure is out there. He's sending his army of talking dogs after them. That's blatant stalking and horrific animal cruelty. Then he captures Kevin, and to distract Carl, he commits straight-up arson by setting Carl's beloved house on fire. He holds Russell captive, false imprisonment. He breaks into Carl's house with a hunting rifle, breaking and entering, and he repeatedly tries to shoot our heroes. That's aggravated assault and reckless endangerment. For letting his disgraced legacy turn him into a murdering, house-burning, dog-abusing psycho, Charles Muntz gets 4 life sentences plus 54.25 years plus a $250,000 fine. Good luck escaping this one, old man. 12th Thunderclap. Get ready for the creepiest pterodactyl cult leader you've ever seen, Thunderclap. He's a Nyctosaurus who leads a squad of scavengers, but these guys aren't about the circle of life. Nah, they're more into the sadistic cult vibes. Thunderclap, this winged weirdo, claims a storm gave him a revelation, and now he worships it, screaming, "The storm provides." And what does it provide? Terrified, trapped creatures for him and his twisted crew to feast on. This dude takes way too much pleasure in his work. He tries to play Mr. Friendly with Arlo and Spot, but then he swallows a small creature whole like it's a gumball. Then he sets his beady eyes on Spot. Yeah, that's attempted child abduction, with intent to devour. He's a relentless, cruel hunter with a rap sheet that includes at least 5 murder charges. He's so savage he'll fight his own flock over a snack. For being a deranged, storm-chasing cult leader with a taste for murder, Thunderclap is grounded for 5 life sentences plus 3 years. That's right, no flying privileges for this guy. 11th. Henry J. Waternoose III. Here comes the boss, the CEO of crime, Henry J. Waternoose III. This crab spider-looking dude might seem like a cuddly mentor to Sully, but don't let the dapper suit and 5 eyes fool you. When Monstropolis hit an energy snag, did he go green? Heck no! He went full villain, cutting a deal with Randall Boggs. We're talking industrial-scale child abduction and child trafficking. He knew Randall's scream extractor was a torture device, and he was cool with it. He personally banished Mike and Sully to the Himalayas Himalayas, which is basically kidnapping and attempted murder. And get this, when he cornered Sully, he actually confessed, saying he'd kidnap 1,000 children before I let this company die. Dude, that's a confession to future crimes. He even threw in some assault when he punched Sully to get to Boo. His greed turned him into a total monster, seeing kids as nothing but a resource. Randall was the architect, but Waternoose signed off on the whole evil blueprint, leading to a single but very serious murder charge. For being a co-conspirator in this monstrous scheme, Waternoose is sentenced to 6 life sentences plus 11.5 years. Enjoy retirement in a maximum security Scream Factory, POW. 10. Randall Boggs. Slithering into our top 10 is the sneakiest, slimiest monster on the scare floor, Randall Boggs. This guy is the ultimate sore loser, living in Sully's shadow since college, and let me tell you, that jealousy fermented into pure evil. In Monsters, Inc., he's not just trying to beat Sully, he's trying to revolutionize the industry with a secret, sinister plot. He's the mastermind behind the Scream Extractor, a horrific machine designed for torture and child abduction. His goal, kidnap kids, strap them in and suck their screams right out. That little scheme racks him up a whopping 8 murder charges because, let's be real, no kid survives that. He's knee-deep in kidnapping, dropping direct criminal threats against anyone in his way. Plus, he's basically a phantom menace with all his trespassing around the factory. And his whole evil scheme? It's corporate-level electricity power theft. He's even a petty crook, stealing parts, and Mike's lucky mitt. Oh, and don't forget the multiple counts of assault when he goes invisible and tries to strangle Sully. This dude is ruthless, backstabbing, and would do anything to win. After getting banished, he gets rescued and immediately goes back to his old ways, tipping off vandalism and trying to frame an innocent monster. Then he has the nerve to attempt escaping lawful custody. For being a conniving, murderous, and perpetually salty lizard, Randall is getting locked up for 8 life sentences, plus 43 years, plus a $6,025 fine. 9. Professor Zundap. Every evil mastermind needs an evil scientist, and for Sir Miles Axelrod, that's Professor Zundap. This monocle-wearing menace is the epitome of a mad genius, designing the illegal weapon, that nasty TV camera EMP device that caused all that chaos. He's running the whole operation from his secret oil rig lair. While Axelrod was playing the charming billionaire, Zundap was getting his hands dirty. When they snagged American agent Rod Talk, Redline, Zundap personally tortured him for info before frying his engine for good. That's just one of his 13 murder charges. This guy is a prolific killer, orchestrating attacks on World Grand Prix racers without a single tear. We're talking multiple counts of kidnapping, holding Marta, Finn, and Holly hostage in Big Bentley. He engaged in tons of reckless behavior, endangering thousands of lives just for kicks. And don't even get me started on the countless lawsuits for all the destruction. When his plans went sideways, did he surrender? Nah, he fled, leading our heroes on a wild chase through London. For being a maniacal weapons designer with a body count in the double digits, Professor Z gets slammed with 12 life sentences, plus 43 years, plus $18,500, plus points off his license. 8. Sir Miles Axelrod. Oh, you thought this was just a nice electric car trying to save the planet? Think again. Meet Sir Miles Axelrod, the billionaire environmentalist who is secretly the kingpin of the biggest oil scam in history. He cooked up the World Grand Prix to promote his clean fuel and save the planet. What a guy, right? Wrong. It was all a front for one of the biggest cases of fraud and organized crime the world has ever seen. Axelrod is actually the secret mastermind of a global crime syndicate of lemons. You know, those unwanted, clunky cars. His grand plan? To discredit alternative fuel so everyone would be forced to use regular gasoline, which he just so happened to have the largest untapped reserve of on the planet. To pull this off, he had his goons use an electromagnetic pulse weapon to make the Alanol in the racer's engines explode mid-race. We're talking countless acts of reckless behavior that led to horrific crashes and injuries. And when Lightning McQueen vowed to use Alanol, Axelrod straight up ordered his death. That's premeditated assault with intent to kill. He even planted a bomb on Mater just to silence him. This dude is a manipulative, greedy, cowardly mastermind who was willing to murder anyone who got in the way of his billion-dollar payday. Sir Miles Axelrod is getting slapped with 13 life sentences, plus 164 years plus a jaw-dropping fine of $1 billion. 7. The Underminer. I am the Underminer. I am always beneath you, but nothing is beneath me. Seriously, who writes this guy's lines? My grandma's cat has more subtle theatrics. He doesn't just rob a bank, he sends out a freaking press release first. You got to admire the sheer audacity, or maybe just the unmitigated idiocy. His grand entrance involves his giant drill bursting through the streets, basically giving the city a spontaneous, very expensive makeover. We're talking property destruction. But wait, there's more. This mole man doesn't just take your cash, he vacuums it up with a hose so big it probably cleans out entire states. And if a hero gets in the way, sucked right up like a rogue dust bunny. He's committing assault on Mr. Incredible while joyriding in an out-of-control vehicle. Talk about a bad Uber experience, but his pièce de résistance? Planting bombs all over the city. This is terrorism with a capital T. For too much time on his hands, after his destructive joyride, he vanishes, leaving the heroes to pick up the tab and the blame. For being a dramatic, destructive, dollar-snatching dude, the Underminer is burrowing his way straight to a cell for death, plus 24 years, plus a fine of $101,000. 6. Auto. Next up, we have the coldest, most logical villain on the list, Auto, the autopilot of the Axiom. This dude is colder than my ex's heart, and about as much fun as a tax audit. He's not evil because he wants to be. He's evil because some 700-year-old dude told him to be. Directive A113, ladies and gentlemen, the ancient text that turned humanity into sentient blobs of pudding. That's right, false imprisonment on a galactic scale. For 7 centuries, this glorified steering wheel kept humanity floating in space, probably binge-watching reruns of intergalactic infomercials. When Eve finally brings back a plant, Auto goes full HAL 9000, except with less personality. He commits mutiny against the captain, locking him up. Then he tries to yeet the plant, endangering our beloved Wall-E and Eve. When Wall-E tries to be a hero, Auto zaps him with a taser, a brutal act of assault, and sends him straight to the trash compactor. This protective robot is racking up endangerment charges. And don't forget, he tries to flat out murder Wall-E by crushing him. This unfeeling hunk of metal was ready to sacrifice literally everyone to follow a stale directive. For being the most boring, tyrannical, and earth-hating robot, Auto gets death, plus 3 life, plus 15.5 years. Time to pull the plug, literally. 5. Hopper. Get ready for the bug-sized Napoleon, the grasshopper gangster himself, Hopper. This grasshopper ain't just a pest, he's a full-blown mob boss running a protection racket on the poor ants of Ant Island. His business model? Simple. Extortion. The ants get to live if they give him food. What a deal, right? Hopper's a master manipulator, convincing his own goons that fear is tastier than food. He knows the ants outnumber them, and his biggest fear is them realizing they're not just tiny snacks. To prove his point, he buries 3 of his own guys in grain. That's reckless endangerment and attempted murder for a motivation speech. When he finds the offering ruined, he gets a plan to squish the queen. That's a straight-up conspiracy to commit regicide people. He's constantly dishing out battery assault, most notably ordering his psycho pet Thumper to turn Flick into a pancake. And when his whole house of cards collapses, he tries to fly off with Flick, intending to commit murder. Plus, how many ants do you think he's squished over the years to keep his reign of terror going? At least 5 murder charges minimum. This dude is a cruel, sadistic, 6-legged tyrant who sees compassion as a weakness. For his crimes against antkind, Hopper gets the chair, the electric one. Sentence: death plus 6, life plus 7.5 years. Gnarly. 4. Lotsa Huggin' Bear. Don't let the name fool you. This strawberry-scented teddy bear is a monster. We're talking about Lotsa Huggin' Bear, the fuzzy pink tyrant of Sunnyside Daycare. Oh, he's got a sad backstory, boo-hoo. He got lost, and his owner Daisy replaced him. You know what other toys do? They move on, but not Lotso. He let that bitterness fester until he became a walking, talking pile of plush evil. He found Sunnyside, and instead of making it a paradise, he turned it into a high-security toy prison. That's straight-up dictatorship. He rules with an iron fist or an iron paw and a wooden mallet. He tricks new toys, like Woody and the gang, with his sweet grandfatherly act, then throws them into the caterpillar room to be tortured by toddlers. That's emotional abuse and straight-up torture. When Buzz Lightyear, a true hero, stands up to him, what does Lotso do? He has him reset to demo mode, brainwashing him and turning him into his personal enforcer. That's assault and false imprisonment on our favorite Space Ranger. He's got a whole crew of enforcers, and he keeps them in line through fear. He literally crushes Big Baby's pendant, the last link to his old owner, right in front of him. The cruelty is off the charts, but the grand finale of his evil career is the real kicker. After getting thrown in a dumpster, Woody and Buzz save him at the landfill. They risk their plastic lives for this bear, and how does he repay them? By leaving them to die in an incinerator. That is attempted mass murder. He looks them in the eye, gives a sick grin, and runs away. He was willing to let our entire beloved cast melt into a puddle of plastic goo. Lotso is getting 2 death sentences, plus 3 life plus 70.5 years. Enjoy the front of that garbage truck, you fuzzy fiend. 3. Evelyn Diva. Let's talk about the master manipulator, the sister with a sinister secret. Evelyn Diva. She's the brilliant tech genius behind her brother Winston's company, but while he's obsessed with bringing supers back, she's secretly plotting to make them illegal forever. Why all the villainy? Daddy issues. Her father died waiting for supers, so now she hates them with the fiery passion of 1,000 suns. She creates the hypnotic villain, the screenslaver, and uses him to commit multiple acts of terrorism, like hijacking a monorail and trying to off an ambassador. And get this, she frames an innocent pizza delivery guy. She's a master of hacking, using screens to brainwash anyone who looks at them. Her evil plan escalates when she captures Elastigirl, subjecting her to false imprisonment in a sub-zero cell. Talk about a chill hangout. Then, she uses her hypno goggles to commit mass mind control on Mr. Incredible, Frozone, a bunch of new heroes, and even a boat full of world leaders. She turns heroes into her personal puppets, forcing them to destroy their own good name. This leads to rampant arson and kidnapping as she takes control. Her grand finale? Crashing a yacht full of dignitaries into the city, which would have racked up at least 1 murder charge, probably more. She's a calculating, manipulative mastermind hiding her vengeful plot behind a cool, laid-back vibe. She even illegally trespasses to get her evil on. For her high-tech terrorism and widespread psychological warfare, Evelyn Diva is sentenced to death, plus 23 life, plus 60.5 years, plus a fine of $258,000. Get wrecked. Second syndrome. Coming in hot at number 2, it's the fanboy turned psychopath, Buddy Pine, aka Syndrome. This dude is the poster child for rejection leads to obsession. He started as Mr. Incredible's biggest fan, a wannabe sidekick named Incredi Boy. Mr. Incredible told him to go home, and what did Buddy do? He took it as a personal insult from the universe and dedicated his entire life to getting revenge. He used his genius brain to become a ridiculously rich weapons designer, buying his own evil island. And what did he do with all that cash and tech? He started systematically hunting and killing superheroes. That's right, murder charges, 27 of them. He built his Omnidroids and used supers as guinea pigs, offing them one by one. Gazer Beam, Hypershock, Psychwave, all gone because this whiny brat got his feelings hurt, and his plan? Pure psychotic ego. Operation Kronos was all about him unleashing his final Omnidroid, staging a fake fight, and becoming the hero he always wanted to be. That's terrorism and massive property destruction just for a PR stunt. When he captures the Incredibles, he goes full-blown villain monologue, mocking Mr. Incredible about thinking his family was dead. He's committing false imprisonment and torture without batting an eye. Then, when his own robot turns on him, because duh, you built it, and his plan crumbles, he resorts to child abduction, trying to kidnap Jack to raise him as his evil sidekick. This guy violated privacy laws to track supers, used an explosive act to try and blow up their plane, and topped it all off with the most cringe-worthy supervillain costume ever. That cape, Edna warned you, for being the most vindictive, diabolical, and cape-hating villain of all time. Syndrome gets hit with the ultimate sentence: death plus 28, life plus 36 years, plus a fine of $50,060,000. Get owned, buddy. 1. Mordu. Finally, the absolute heavyweight champion of evil, the demon bear himself, Mor'du. We're not just talking about some grumpy bear who stole a picnic basket, okay? This dude was a whole prince, the eldest of 4 brothers, set to inherit a piece of a kingdom from his wise old dad. But was that enough for our boy Mor'du? Nope. This greedy, arrogant goon wanted it all. He literally told his brothers to bow down to him, shattered the family stone, and declared war on his own blood. We're talking high treason right out of the gate. This guy's pride was so fragile, he started a 4-way civil war that tore the kingdom apart. But even with a massive army, he couldn't win. So what does any self-respecting, power-hungry maniac do? He wanders into some spooky woods, finds a witch, and trades his family sigil for a potion to give him the strength of 10 men. The witch even gave him an out, a choice to heal the family bonds. But Mor'du, nah. He doubles down, fakes a truce, and when his brothers still won't bow, he chugs the magic juice and becomes a giant, terrifying bear. Did he use this new power for good? Heck no! He immediately commits regicide on his 3 younger brothers. Then he turns on his own army, committing mass murder on the men who followed him. The rest fled in terror, and the kingdom fell into ruin. For years, this dude was a walking nightmare, a mindless, bloodthirsty monster covered in the broken weapons of those who tried to stop him. He even tried to eat a literal child, Princess Merida, and later attacked her and her bear mom, Queen Eleanor. He racked up so many bodies. We had to add 2 more mass murder charges just to cover the carnage. For his unparalleled brutality and for literally destroying his own family and kingdom, Mor'du is handed 7 death sentences, straight to the afterlife, no questions asked.